If you weren't able to be with us on Sunday night, I want to take just a few minutes to invite you into the heart of what we looked at together. And even if you were there, I think it's one of those passages that keeps working on you even after you've walked away. Because when we slow down and sit with Mark chapter 14, we begin to realize that the story isn't really about perfume or money or even a dramatic scene. It's about what happens when Jesus is right in front of people and they have to decide how they're going to respond to him. Mark tells us that just days before the cross, while religious leaders were quietly planning Jesus' death, a woman stepped forward and gave him something incredibly costly. She didn't say a word, she didn't explain herself, she didn't try to justify what she was doing. She just gave what she had because, to her, Jesus was worth it. What's stayed with me since Sunday night is how quiet that moment really was. There's no speech, no attention seeking, and yet Jesus says that wherever the gospel is preached, what she did will be remembered. That tells us something important. Some of the most meaningful acts of devotion in God's kingdom aren't loud or public. They're quiet and sometimes misunderstood. And that's where this passage starts to press in on us. Because most of us don't struggle with whether or not we love Jesus. The real struggle is how much that love should cost. We want devotion to make sense. We want it to be reasonable. But in this story, what made sense to the people in the room looked like waste to Jesus. And what looked like waste to them was beautiful to him. So it forces an honest question. Who gets to decide what faithfulness looks like in our lives? The people around us, or Jesus himself? For many of us, the issue isn't open rebellion, it's quiet negotiation. We're not walking away from Jesus, but we are hesitating. We're delaying obedience while we wait for a better time or maybe even a lower cost. Mark places that kind of thinking right next to Judas, who also thought carefully and planned quietly in order to be able to choose what felt convenient. That contrast is sobering. One person pours everything out and is defended by Jesus forever. Another begins calculating, and the cross is set in motion. But here's the grace in this story. Jesus doesn't scold the woman for not understanding everything. He doesn't demand perfect theology before devotion. He receives what she is offering and gives it meaning. That's good news for us. Jesus isn't waiting on flawless devotion. He welcomes honest devotion. So whether you were there Sunday night or not, there's a simple question that I want you to carry with you today. Where has following Jesus started to feel costly? And what have you been tempted to do with that feeling? Have you pulled back? Have you delayed? Or have you quietly decided what you will and won't give him? The hope of the gospel is this. We only learn how to give ourselves to Jesus when we remember how fully he gave himself for us. Before anyone poured anything out for him, he poured himself out for us. And nothing given to him in response to that grace is ever wasted.